What's crack-a-lackin', everybody? Money Smart Guy Matt Sapaula here, hailing to you from Dallas, Texas, and welcome to another episode, live stream episode of Millionaire Responds here on the 7 Figure Squad YouTube channel. And we got a bunch of topics here we want to cover. And we often say that if you want to think like a millionaire, you got to strategize like a millionaire, so therefore you can become a first-generation cash flow millionaire. At a workshop last night in our office, I asked people to raise their hand if people in that audience wanted to be financially free, financially independent, debt-free, become retired sooner in life than later. And how many hands do you think went up? Some, none, or all of them? All of them went up. Everybody wants to be debt-free. Everybody wants to be financially independent. Everybody wants to be retired sooner than later. And then I asked another follow-up question. I said, how many were raised by somebody that's financially free? How many were raised by somebody that's debt-free? How many are raised by somebody that's got independence in their finances and the freedom to do what they want to do and financially take care of the people that they love and care about and slide that credit card, whatever, thinking twice about not paying off the balance at the end of 30 days? Not one hand went up. Matter of fact, one hand went up. And his said, my family's in sports, athletics. Okay. But none of the hands went up. And there's a multicultural room of people in different ethnicities and demographics and socioeconomic upbringings. And I told them last night, if there's one thing that you take away from tonight, if you learn nothing else from my talk tonight, is that when you raised your hand that you want to be financially free and financially independent, and you weren't raised by anybody, or in your family you weren't raised in this language, this mindset, this mentality, you now tonight have officially become the black sheep of your family. Don't expect to bounce your ideas, your thought process about money, your dreams, your goals off of them. Because you're asking them for their opinion, you're asking them for their thoughts, you're asking them for their feedback, but they've done nothing with financially free and financially, because they're not themselves financially free, financially independent, debt free. So why are you asking them for advice and guidance? And so, like, people, it makes sense, because they'll do nothing but talk you out of it. They'll do nothing but shout you down, tell you to go back to being comfortable. That'll never happen. I said, if you want to be financially free and financially independent, you got to surround yourself with people that are speaking that language and have that expectation in their life. And it's one of the topics I'm going to be talking about this afternoon is my challenge too with my church. That I'm going to this church and everybody around is shutting me down because I want to be ambitious. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to work for myself. I make a lot of money. And people are saying, hey, Matt, just chill, bro. Calm down. God will provide. God's timing. God will provide. You just be humble. You be content. I'll talk about that in one of these reaction videos. So we'll talk about some of these things that pertain to shaping your mindset, mentality, and shaping your perspective of how you see the world. Because before your millionaire status becomes a reality, there's got to be shape in your mindset. This has got to change. Your mindset's got to change before your bank account begins to change. But it starts here. You got to get your mind right. So one of the things I've had to do as an entrepreneur is get in front of people and give my presentation or give my pitch. And so I want to go to this clip here that we found of a man having the courage for the first time in his life, apparently, of speaking in front of people. Let's take a look at this. All right. All right. A Chinese man decided to stand up and speak in front of an audience despite suffering from severe anxiety. Let me hear the audio on this.
全面发展，培练意志品格，激发创新，勇于实践，做到德智体美劳全面发展，培练意志品格。Okay. Well, I'm holding my breath just looking at that. I'm just, listen, I've been there, man. I mean, I've shaken that much, but I've been there. I've been that nervous. I'm surprised he's trying to put up his glasses because they're shaking off his forehead, shaking off the top of his nose, and the whole podium is shaking too as well. I think this is hilarious. Man, listen, more power to you. God bless you. Thank you, Mr. Chinese
man having the courage to get up, because most people wouldn't do that. Most people shaking that bad wouldn't even get the courage to stand up in front of that podium and do your thing and salute to you. So I'm going to give you some thoughts here in terms of speaking in front of people, speaking in front of an audience, doing your public talk, speaking in front of a group of people to pitch your message, your product, your service, investors for money, etc. Let me give you some tips here. Number one, you got to shift your mindset. If you want to overcome the fear and anxiety of speaking in front of people, and by the way, a lot of stats, people are afraid of the dark. Are you afraid of sharks? Are you afraid of snakes? Are you afraid of whatever? Most people are afraid of talking in front of people. Most people would rather jump off a cliff and die, sadly, than speak in front of people. And by the way, which one are you? Are you the one afraid of speaking in front of people to have a little bit of anxiety speaking in front of people? There's some people that are raised, no problem. It's because, you had some upbringing where you had to get in front of people and perform in front of people, dance in front of people, sing in front of people. By the way, today's the beginning of Filipino American History Month. We all had to have a talent, whether you sing, you rap, you dance. We had to do something. For me, I played the piano. Right, that's my thing. And so you're always in that position of performing. Now it's different in business because now people are looking at you, people are looking at your idea, and you're conscious of it too. You're aware of it, and people are looking to stand you down, and people give you different energies when they look and you stare at you. They give you different looks. But these tips helped me shift my perspective and relieving myself of the anxiety of speaking in front of people. Number one, you got to shift your mindset. What I mean by shifting your mindset, instead of you worrying about performing, you got to think about serving them, helping them, teaching them. Okay. And when you focus on serving and not performing, you think, how do my words help people? How does my topic help people? Not how do I look? What's my suit looking like? Do I sound good? No. I'm focused solely on helping and serving people. And little fun fact here too as well. I look at one person, two people, three people for the people that give me the most energy. And I'm not focused on people that stand up and walk out and walk around because those are distractions. I see them out the corner of my eye, I see them in my peripheral vision. I don't need to look at it because if I look at that distraction, guess what that's going to do in my talk? They're going to look at that distraction too as well. The door opens when you do a public talk and you look at them, guess what everybody's going to do in the audience? They're going to look at them. In fact, if I see the distraction, I look opposite. And somebody gets up and walks away, I look opposite. So therefore, I redirect attention because I'm focused on serving them. I'm redirecting attention for them not to be distracted, the audience to be distracted from that distraction. So therefore, they stay focused on my message because I'm focused in on serving people. And you got to find a way to normalize your nerves. Even just so you know, I still get nervous behind stage. I've just learned over time how to channel that into excitement and enthusiasm, not nervousness about what I'm about to do. You channel it into excitement and enthusiasm. The other thing I'd say too as well, if you really want to improve your public speaking, is prepare relentlessly. Prepare relentlessly. Just so you guys know, I prepare about an hour and a half of these topics using ChatGPT, using AI to prepare for some of these topics. So therefore, it arranges my thoughts, it clears my head, puts it on paper. So now I know how to turn on the camera here and do a live podcast or shoot a piece of content or speak in front of people. It's preparation. I interviewed Coach K earlier this year. He said, Matt, when you prepare, you're worthy of winning. If you don't prepare, you're not worthy of winning. So am I worthy of my YouTube channel growing if I prepare? Am I worthy of my business growing if I prepare? Am I worthy of this client meeting if I prepare? I want to prepare and prepare relentlessly. You got to know your content. You got to know your subject matter. You got to know your field. You got to be a student of your business. One thing a lot of people respect about Charlie Kirk at the young age of 31 years old, you look at some of the interviews we did with him here on a YouTube channel. We put some links here for you to grab and watch some of the content, that even at 31 years old, he made so much of an impact in the world. Not just in America, not just in Illinois, in the world. And he'd constantly say this, I read 2 to 3 hours a day about what's going on in America. I read about 50 books a year. And just with that preparation, with that consumption, going through what he needs to learn, what he needs to know, guess what? He's in the know. He knows what's going on. He knows exactly what's going on through his subject matter, the person that he's debating. So if you're not preparing, well, of course, you've not got every reason now to be nervous. And so, you also have to anticipate some of the questions you'll get and prepare through those questions. I can't, we're going to look at one of the TV segments here I did back 12 years ago. It's 3 minutes. Do you know how long I prepared for those 3 minutes? I prepared for 2 hours. I prepared for any question that the reporter might ask me, and it came out with a rebuttal to be in sound bites, not to be lengthy in my responses, because I know the segment was only 3.5 minutes. I need to be punchy to serve people of Chicago. At that time where I was in Chicago, I'm in Dallas now, but at the time I did this 12 years ago, I was in Chicago. I want to serve whoever's watching it. I'm looking at the millions of people through that camera that are on the side looking for information to help them in the subject matter that I was expressing. In that preparation, you got to practice. You got to practice your iterations. You got to practice your sound bites. You got to practice your taglines. I mean, where do you think what's cracking like everybody? My Scar guy, Matt Sapaula here, hailing to Dallas. I practiced that. That came up. Where do you think Money Smart came from? I practiced that. That came up by mistake when we were practicing. The other thing as well, so preparation, practice, you got to manage your body. This guy's locking his knees. You know, if you look at it, I don't have it anymore, but if you look at this deal here, he's locked, his knees are locked. And because he's nervous, there's no flexion in his knees. It's troubling throughout his whole body because his body's rigid. He's stiff. He's nervous. You got to be loose. Chill, relax, have fun, breathe, relax, breathe through your nose, out through your mouth, pause, be intentional about your pauses, right? Power stance, put your hands here, right? Don't put your hands in your pocket. Don't put your hands behind you. You're not being arrested. Put your hands in front of you, boom, here, right? These things that allow you to be in a power stance, so manage your body. Last thing I'll add up to as well is before you tackle on a big speaking conversation, before you pitch that investor, practice with smaller audiences, practice with smaller investors, practice, and start small. And once you do the reps of doing small, then you're prepared for the big. Today, I'm having conversations today with some very high level people. I showed a last live video. We're in a room with Ken Fisher of Fisher Investments. He's worth $13 billion. We were in a room with Governor Abbott of Texas. I was in there with a bunch of guys. I've mentioned a bunch of athletes in my field. Now our friendships and relationship I had with them before. I'm nervous because I'm watching them on TV. I'm reading about them in the newspaper. Now I'm their peer. Why? Because I started small and I worked myself up. My identity grew. And so last but not least, I'll share this too as well. Use a lot of stories with inside your public talk, with inside your pitch, because you can tell a story, right? You can frame a story, you can tell a story, and it's not like you're reading off a script. You know your story because why you lived it. So these things I hope that will help you reduce the anxiety of public speaking when you're promoting your brand. You're in a network meeting, get invited to speak at a networking event. Just did a conference with a pastor. He invited me to come to a church to preach in front of his church on my first book called Faith Made Millionaire. Well, I'm excited to do it because I've done Faith Made Millionaire over and over and over and over again at my local office. In my local office here, I get to practice. I get to do it real time in front of my associates, in front of our clients. Now, when I'm being asked to speak at a church, I have people I don't know. I've done it, dozens and dozens and dozens and hundreds of times over and over and over. I know my jokes. Matter of fact, if you're around me long enough, you're going to know my jokes because I repeat some of my jokes over and over and over every time I do my talk. And so, by the way, that's a habit I saw with studying Kevin Hart, studying Chris Rock, studying all these comics. They had the same jokes from 20 years ago, just crafted differently 20 years later. So if you think there's a lot of things that's needs to be created for the first time, listen, the Bible says nothing new is created under the sun. Everything that's been created has already been created. But the only thing that hasn't been created is you. So use your story with that subject matter that's already been done before. The difference now is you're bringing it up. You're bringing your iteration to it. You're bringing your experience to it. Okay. All right. This next video we're gonna take a look at is we're gonna go with Tasha. So Tasha is a client of ours, and if you didn't know this, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So I don't have a specific breast cancer awareness client. We're doing an event here at our office in the next few weeks on hand today, but I do have this video of Tasha, and she went through cancer. And a lot of people don't realize this, but you never know when cancer or heart attack or stroke or change in health is ever going to hit you. You never know that. But what you can do is prepare. From a preparation standpoint, I mean about insurance, about making sure you got right financial tools and infrastructures in place. So therefore, when financial disruption comes your way, you're not you're not derailed from the progress that you're making. Because in other words, you don't want to be working for 1, 5, 10, 50, 20 years, and one change in health derails you back to being broke again. Tasha Betts here is an example of that, because through our firm, she not only became a client, but later on she decided to do the business with us. But here's her story about dealing with cancer. Let's take a look at this.
I'll make it short and sweet. I was a client first in PHP. A friend of mine contacted me, reached out. We did a whole Zoom. I eventually ended up getting life insurance. It did take a while. I want to say I went through that for about 5 months. I mean, they had me doing medical, and they actually sent me for some additional testing, all kind of stuff. But anyway, I got my life insurance policy in November of 2022. And about 6 or 7 months later, June of 2023, I was diagnosed with lymphoma, diffuse large B-cell lymphoma.
Wow. Just a quick pause right there. Oftentimes people say you got to be old to get life insurance, because people think that life insurance is related to funeral insurance. Well, let me help create an awareness for you that anything can happen to anyone at any time. Okay. I'll give you an example. Let's go to this website that a lot of people go to when they don't have insurance, when they don't have an emergency fund, when they don't have the financial preparation to anticipate when life hits. What's that website I'm talking about? Let's look at it together. It's called GoFundMe. Okay, GoFundMe, and usually GoFundMe is supposed to be a crowd raising platform, but now it's being used more for what? Funerals. And when you're looking at, for example, let's not even go to funerals because it's very sad. But let's go to medical. Okay, let's go to any medical cases here of people who went through. Here, where is it here? Where is the? Oh, they must have moved this around. Okay, so if I just go here to, for example, healthcare, change in health. How many people here that are young, beautiful, vibrant, active, now needs money for a change in health? And they didn't have the right insurances, they didn't have the right policies and financial infrastructure in place to help them with their journey. So don't think you got to be old to get life insurance. You want to look at emergencies? Let's look at emergency. What's some of the emergencies that people have? Okay, dog emergency, pet emergency. I totally get it. I mean, I can't advise you or give you any insight on pet insurance, but people are raising money for their pets, justice, etc. Change in health, emergency funds due to financial circumstance, $6,900. God bless you. Okay, but here's the thing too as well. GoFundMe takes. Yeah, let's go. Let's do it. Funerals. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. Okay. How many young, vibrant, healthy people? Oh my gosh! Sadly, has passed away. Has sadly passed away. Oh my gosh, babies. Oh my gosh. Let me just get off this thing. Okay. What's my point? It breaks my heart to see that. It breaks my heart even more when people say, I don't need life insurance. I need to wait when I'm older. No, did you see the faces there? Young, vibrant, healthy, active. Next thing you know, life hits. Now, you can't predict when life hits, but what you can predict is that it will hit. And you need to have the financial infrastructure in place. And one of the least expensive ways to prepare for that is insurance. And so Tasha here was smart enough to get insurance. Let's have her continue to talk about her experience here. 6-7 months after buying a life insurance policy, which had living benefits. I'll talk about living benefits here in a moment. Let's continue the story.
Doesn't run in my family, was definitely unexpected. But thankfully I had my life insurance policy. At the time I had a $1 million policy. And so
how long had it been in force?
Just about 6 or 7 months. Was November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June. Yeah, 7 months.
And what were we paying in premiums?
I want to say 70 a month.
Wow.
I think I was spending about $70 a month.
It's
So, and
420
because
bucks
it
she's
was
put into the
early on,
policy.
I mean, of course, I had to go through the contestable period, which was fair. I get it.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, hey, did you know that?
Contestable period means that when you file a claim, the insurance company says, wait a minute, we just issued you a life insurance policy. You're filing a claim already. So they're contesting paying the claim. Why? Because the underwriting, based on how she answered the medical questions, based on that premise, based on them doing an MIB check, medical information bureau check, doing a DMV check, doing a prescription drug check, it looked like she's fine, she's healthy. So now the insurance company can contest, especially if it was within inside 2 years of them issuing the policy. They can legally do that. Okay, so she's going through that process of contestability.
That you know, their question that cancer had been questionable for you.
Yeah.
It had not. It was out of the blue. So what I ended up doing was accelerating just half of my policy. So I kept 500,000. They cut me a 6-figure check. I was able to go through months of chemo.
Okay. She just rushed through that real quick. You know what just happened there? Let me just break it down. She had $1 million policy. The life insurance company says, here's $500,000 right now. You're free to spend it however you want to spend it. She just put $420 into the policy. She goes through cancer right now, goes through the claim form. Insurance company goes, you passed, no problem. We got you. Here's $500K. She just put $420 into the policy. Here's $500K. That's the power of life insurance. Now let's find out what she did with the life insurance money.
And I traveled because I live in Palm Coast, but I was traveling, I guess it was 100 or so, maybe about 300 miles. I was in Western Florida for my treatment, and I would have to stay Monday through Friday for my treatment. My chemo ran 20 hours a bag. It was around the clock. I did 6 treatments of that.
Girl, I got chills right now. You just sharing that.
It was a journey, man. It was a journey. But so I still have insurance. I ended up converting a portion of that to permanent policy. I still have some term.
Wow. So this is the term insurance policy she had. That's why it was so cheap. 70, 80 bucks a month she paid into the policy. Something happened to her, this lymphoma, right? Boom, $500,000 of living benefit paid to her right now. The remaining $500K of the term insurance policy, based on what you just said, she converted that term insurance policy to perm. By the way, that's section 3, that's chapter 3 of my really recent book, Keep the Keys, which is start with term, end with perm. Start with term insurance, end with permanent insurance, because term is temporary for a certain term, 10, 20, in this case, 20, 30 years. But perm is permanent. And these policies will go up to all the way to 120 years old. So that's what she did. She converted the remaining portion of her life insurance policy, even though she went through cancer. And guess what the insurance company didn't do? They didn't charge her more money because she's going through cancer. They just kept it in force, the same cost of insurance rate, because she got the policy when she was healthy. See, that's the power of life insurance too as well. Get it when you're young, get it when you're healthy, because it's the cheapest. Same thing too with lending money. You don't want to borrow money from the bank when the bank feels that you need money. You want to borrow money from the bank when your credit's the highest. You don't need money. You got no debt. Bank says, okay, you don't need any money from us. We want to lend you money now. Same thing here with life insurance. You're young, you're healthy. Let's lock it in. Last thing she's thinking about 6, 7 months later, her health changes.
Now some permanent. I'm in remission. I skipped that part. I'm in remission. I'm good.
Boom.
So I'm in the business as promised. I mean, I was passionate about it after that. I'm a believer, and I am on a.
That's awesome. That's Tasha. And I wrote about another client of ours. His name is Dustin Frampton, the guy that built my website, moneysmartguy.com. Watching my videos, reading my content. He finally calls me and says, Matt, I think I need to buy life insurance. I says, why is that? Matt, I'm married to a sister girl here from south side of Chicago. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. I got 4 kids we homeschool. Let me get an insurance policy. He put 60, same thing, 60, 70 bucks into the policy. 18 months later, 38 years old, Dustin has a stroke. We'll put the story right here, right? We'll put the story right here on the replay so you guys can ask, or we'll put the replay in the links in the description below. But that was a very profound story because people often think that getting life insurance policy is only for when you die or when you get buried, your funeral costs. No, life insurance policy is to pay for living benefits these days. And just FYI, Not every life insurance company offers living benefits. Two different types of policy benefits and riders. First one is a terminal illness rider, which practically every life insurance policy has, which means that if you need to access your money, your death benefit, now today, you've got to be terminally ill. The doctor says you're going to pass away in the next 12 months. That's terminal illness. That way you can get your money today and spend your money however you want to from a life insurance policy. That's not the same as living benefits. Living benefits says if you suffer and survive from a heart attack, stroke, cancer, complications from diabetes, or if you're older, you can't perform 2 of the 6 activities of daily living, they're going to pay you money from your life insurance policy now. You don't have to be terminally ill. So 2 different benefits here from life insurance: terminal illness, living benefits. They're not the same. Times I ask people, do you have living benefits in your policy? They say, yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. We look at the policy. Nope, it's just terminal illness. This insurance company doesn't even offer a policy with a rider of living benefits. They don't offer critical illness. They don't offer cancer treatment. They don't offer the disability, etc. You have to pay other policies for that. These policies today, a lot of modern policies today, I can think of only maybe 15, 16, 17 of them that offer living benefits within inside their life insurance policies. You know, we have several here off the top of my head. We've got a National Life Group. We got Nationwide. We've got Mutual of Omaha. We get these companies here. This off the top of my head that we have. And by the way, I've got those policies. I have 12 life insurance policies myself. I'll have to apply for another one. We're putting a lot of cash into this next policy I get because I'm using it not for death benefit. I'm using it for living benefits, which is the whole evolution of the education and awareness of what life insurance actually does. And oftentimes people say, well, Matt, I hear Dave Ramsey, I hear all these guys say, buy term and invest the difference, buy term and invest the difference. Listen, that philosophy was great during the 50s, 60s, and 70s. It changed in 85 when E.F. Hutton created universal life insurance. It created in 1997 when the life insurance industry in Transamerica created Index Universal Life, completely changed. Because now you have freedom and flexibility, living benefits. A lot of these old school philosophies of buy term and invest, that was appropriate for its time. And not to think that it's not appropriate for its time. Well, it's like not buying into capitalism. Doesn't capitalism improve everything? Certain values and principles, stay the same. Like you need life insurance, but the style of life insurance has evolved. Why are people still dealing with the finances like life insurance, like buying a pager when we're living in a smartphone type of world? The principle is true that you need to get a life insurance policy, but which style or company or brand is also important today too as well. Because back in the day, people were buying Motorola and Nextel. Today, what are people buying? Android and iPhone. See, what applies? What's universal applies? What the people need to communicate. It's a different style now of how we do that today. Same thing happens with life insurance. We have to upgrade or at least be aware of what's offered in the life insurance industry today. So please allow Breast Cancer Awareness Month not only help you be more aware of your health, but also get the financial tools in place that just in case your health were to go opposite of the direction you think it would go, you got the financial tools. And look at Tasha's face there. Confidence and clarity, calmness in her tone. Very, very, very proud of Tasha. Okay. This next one, we're going to go down. They take a trip down memory lane here where we discuss how to recession-proof your life. I did this 12 years ago during the Great Recession, literally during the Great Recession, between 07 and 09, okay? And I was on Fox News Chicago giving tips, and I wonder if these things still apply today. Is this really evergreen? How did this age? How did this play out? Well, I'll give you my honest assessment. Let's take a look at this. How to recession-proof your family. That's weird, side by side right there, man. That was 12 years ago. All right, let's take a look.
Let's walk through some of the steps. You say optimize your assets. What do you mean by that?
We have to think about some of the ways we own certain things. For example, how your mortgage is structured. Every dollar above and beyond interest is a dollar that you didn't invest. Trapping that money inside equity. Many people don't realize that the people are getting foreclosed on first are the people with a lot of equity inside their property. But if you had a lot of equity separated from your property, chances are you're sitting pretty, stripping off a little bit of interest to your net because you had it growing in a liquid side.
How do you fix that?
How do you fix that?
Cash out
you gotta
refinance.
talk with a mortgage professional that understands how the power of your mortgage really works in your financial portfolio. It's just as important to manage your debts as it is important to manage your assets.
Man, you know what? I've been talking that for a while. Keep the Keys book here. I've been talking about the Keep the Keys book. I've been talking about, this is the philosophy I talked about in my book, Keep the Keys. Don't worry about it. I've been talking about this in my book, Keep the Keys. I've been talking about this since 2009. So this has aged well, very well. And even then, look at my branding, Matthew Sapaula Inc. Notice I changed my branding. You know why I changed my branding? Because after this type of, this is a complete side note here. The reason why I changed the name of my company from Matthew Sapaula Inc. is nobody can ever spell Matthew Sapaula Inc. without me having to take precious airtime to have spell out my first name and last name. So we just called the Money Smart Guy. 7-figure squad, the Money Smart movement, away from my name. Anyway, and by the way, I go by Matt Sapaula, not Matthew Sapaula, because it's faster to say on air. But this aged quite well because it's a universal truth. If you think that your house is an investment, well, to me, the definition of an investment is something that puts money in your pocket every month, every year. An interest payment or a dividend payment. Or a capital gain payment that goes into my bank account. Well, equity that's trapped in your house, how much is the $100,000, $200,000 of equity in your house paying you interest, dividend, or capital gain income every year, every month? Chances are it's zero, isn't it? Well, is it an investment? My opinion is not. It's a place to live. There's capital appreciation down the road when you decide to sell, or in this case, cash out refinance, and then it becomes potentially meeting the definition of insurance. Why? Because when you cash out refinance, meaning that whatever equity is in there by refinancing your house and starting a 30-year clock all over again, you separate the cash from the property into a liquid side account that now you control, whether you use a Roth IRA or use an index universal life policy, permanent life insurance structure, put into a liquid side account that you control, not the bank, because they were controlling it over here, and just making sure that your mortgage payment is the same mortgage payment as when you refinanced it, because now you have the same monthly rhythm. It's not disrupted. The big thing here that's changed is the equity is no longer in the property. It's now in your hands. Now, if you got this somewhere where it's now earning a rate of return, now it's kicking you income per year. Now you're not only liquid, but the interest or capital gain or dividend that you're earning from this, wherever you put it in a liquid side account, you control that. Now it's kicking you cash every month, every year, whatever it's structured to do. So this aged well. Because right now, guess what spiked up last year? Foreclosures. And who gets foreclosed on first? The people that have least amount of debt balance in their property and the most amount of equity. They're the first people to get foreclosed on first. The last people to get foreclosed on are the who? Are the people that have the most amount of debt on their property. They're the last people that the bank wants to foreclose on. If you have any questions about this, go to my website, keepthekeysbook.com. I got some free tools there for you to, from worksheets for you to work on and to go do a quick scorecard to see where you're exposed. If you're exposed, you might be in good shape, but I don't know. Go to my website, keepthekeysbook.com. 2 free tools. And also, I'm on a national book tour across America discussing it. I just came back from Memphis. And matter of fact, let's take a, if I have it here, I should have some photos here. Here's some pictures from our Memphis book tour. I was just out there. By the way, we're looking at some properties in Memphis. This is Rod Hickman, one of our agency owners out there. The most expensive property on the listing in Memphis, the number three most affordable city in America, which is Memphis, Tennessee. This is a suburb called Germantown. This house listed, beautiful home. You can pick up this house. That'd be a $3-4 million house. You can pick that house here in not Dallas, in Germantown. The cost of that home is $1.9 million. You can live like a king in Memphis. The cost of living there is very, very, very affordable. 5-bedroom, 5.5 bath on a 0.41 acre lot, almost half an acre lot. Beautiful, beautiful property. This same property would be here. It would be a $3.5 million house. So your money goes a long way in Memphis. So that keep the keys philosophy works. Check. Let's take a look at what else in this TV segment.
You say keep the cash flowing.
We were talking about that. Continue to save through these times. Right now, millionaires are being risen from the ashes. These are the times, like many women, they love buying on discount.
Absolutely, bargain shoppers.
See, that's the opportunity right now to buy on discount.
Not all of them.
For retail price sometimes.
Usually the ones you're married to that are not the bargain shoppers, right? So you say keep your cash flowing. So is now the time to buy stocks? Is now the time to invest in the market?
It's definitely time. If you've got the time on your side, it's definitely a time to be consistent, persistent, practice prudence. The tortoise always wins. And over the long term, these times end up working itself out.
By the way, this aged very well too as well. A couple weeks ago, I shared with my team on a national call on Sunday nights. We do it from 8 to 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. Probably 700 of our guys across the country on the Zoom. We do this every Sunday night. I've been doing this for last 12, 13 years. And I showed my policy from Nationwide. I showed them the date of my policy. I started 12 years ago. You know, why am I doing with the cash value in the policy today? Well, I drive a Rolls Royce today because I took the cash from the policy to buy a Rolls Royce. The things I am investing in, real estate, right? I took that cash from my life insurance policy. But I've been funding it for 12, 13 years. I waited for a moment for such as because I knew down the road I'd be 12, 13, 14, 15 years older. I want to make sure that future richer version of me had some extra cash to go make some moves in the marketplace, which I am now doing because of what I did in 2012. So the 2025 version of me, I didn't know it, was cheering me along all the way. Good job putting money inside a life insurance policy. Good job getting another life insurance policy structured for maximum funding, minimum death benefit for a time such as this. And today, the home we live in, the first home I bought my house for my wife, first house I bought for my wife, she ever owned in her entire life was a $3 million house here in Frisco. Her first house. This is her starter house. It's a beautiful house. We just spent $50,000 in landscaping. We just did our family photo shoot here for holidays and Christmas cards coming up. They were doing a photo shoot for us. They wanted to put our face on the front of a magazine for the Homeowners Association. But here, her first house is a starter house. This is a luxury home. Why? Because I was thinking about this stuff during the Great Recession. So I know times are tough, but just as much as times are tough, you pay your bills. Guess what you do too as well? You put your money away. A lot of times people don't talk about that a lot. You talk about how much money they're making, but they don't talk how much they're saving and investing. I do. This channel does. It's one thing to make a lot of money. It's another thing to set aside some cash, a nice sizable chunk, and you got that rocking and rolling for you. I'm just checking here my brokerage account because my brokerage account is growing week after week after week. I'm excited about because why? Because I started putting money in there a minute ago. And what do we earn? Yeah. So based on my brokerage account, I got over a $35,000 gain in the last 7 days. $35,000 gain in the last 7 days. Why? Because I got money set aside that I planted there when I was broke. Forget where I'm at today. I put this money away when I got an insurance policy when I was broke. I bought a life insurance policy. I was broke. I put money aside. I'm talking about $50, $100, $200, putting the money aside. Just as disciplined as I was paying my cell phone bill, my rent, my car note, I put a little aside. Listen, I watch what happens 5 years ago. Forget about it. And so that's how you recession-proof your family long-term. Because everybody today wants a microwave. They want to put a little bit of money and tomorrow they want to be an instant millionaire. It doesn't happen that way.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. You were saying get tough on bad debt.
Sure. There's
Clarify that.
Sure. There's good debt and there's bad debt. Don't be so fast to pay off that mortgage. Don't be so fast to pay off that college loan. Why? Because that's the loan that's the cheapest to borrow from the bank and the one that Uncle Sam allows you tax deduct. What you need to do is concentrate on getting rid of that car loan.
That's right.
Get rid of that credit card. Get rid of that flat screen TV that you got to pay back in 90 days. Get rid of that debt and concentrate on eliminating that. Otherwise, it frees up money and you can save that in other things that allow you to maintain liquidity and control.
Wow, liquidity and control. By the way, look at the. Oh, this is aging so well. But you see, let's look at the cover of my book. Where does it go? Let's go to the cover of my book right quick. Let's go to the cover of my book. Keep the keys. Okay, here. Let's take a look at the cover of my book. All right. So if you go to Amazon, here's the cover of my book. Real world strategies for homeowners to build liquidity and control during tough financial. I didn't realize that was in correlation. So this has worked out quite well. It's a bestseller. We went to Chicago, went to Memphis, I'm on my way to San Antonio next Wednesday, to Fredericksburg, Virginia. By the way, if you want to look at where I'm going next, I'm going to Keep the Keys book tour. Go to keepthekeysbook.com. There's a link there where you can see, click it, and it'll show my locations where we're going to next. Interesting how this worked out. Let's finish this.
To play it safe. What's safe anymore these days? I mean, you can't even. Your mutual funds aren't even safe
They're
anymore.
not. They never will be.
Annuities.
We know that money needs a home. The industries of which people traditionally save money: real estate, the stock market, the bank industry, and the lesser known life insurance industry.
Bingo.
But we've seen that the three of those four have exposed their weaknesses. The one that's withstanding the test of time right now
is the life insurance industry.
industry.
That's right.
In fixed and index life insurance contracts, people right now are not feeling a bump in the road.
That's right.
People right now are frantic calling the office. People aren't frantic right now about what's going on. This is I can fall asleep at home at night money inside those particular strategies.
But last but not least, don't panic.
Absolutely. You know,
Easy said, you know.
what do they say in the airplane? If the emergency mask falls down, you're supposed to take care of yourself first. Put that mask on for yourself. Don't worry about anything else. Take care of yourself. Get that oxygen flowing to yourself. And take care of, don't worry about the Joneses, don't worry about the people across the street, don't worry about your family members, your coworkers. Chances are your circumstances are quite different from theirs.
Interesting. All right, Matthew Sapaula, and president of Matthew Sapaula Incorporated. We should mention that you were in the Marines, what, for 10 years?
You got it.
Like
Hoorah, baby.
Yeah, so in the Marines, and then started your own financial company. And you can listen to, you're also the host of Living the American Dream. That's pretty cool, on 560 a.m., Sundays, 10 to 11 a.m.
Appreciate it.
Very good. All right, thanks for coming in this morning, Matthew.
There you go, man. There you go. By the way, I prepared an hour, 2 hours for that, and it lasted 3.5 minutes. And these principles have not only lasted the test of time, but they've thrived the test of time. If you want some free resources, again, go to my website at keepthekeysbook.com, and you'll be able to get the free tools there. If you want to purchase the book, there's some links there to purchase the book too as well. Awesome. I love that. We got to repost that. We got to repost on my Instagram. That'd be good. See if see if this aged well, and let our audience decide. All right. What's the next one? Speaking of life insurance, by the way, before we deviate from it, we'll go back to life insurance in a second. But today, the government shut down. So the Wall Street Journal Washington coverage chief, Damian Paletta, has some very interesting things to say. Let's take a look at this.
25.
The last thing we want to do is shut it down, but
Welcome to the shutdown of 2025.
the last thing we want to do is shut it down, but a lot of good can come down from shutdowns.
They don't give a damn about the harm they will cause with their shutdown.
In the past few days, the White House and Democrats made no real effort to reach a compromise.
We are in this fight until we win this fight.
So here we are, funding has lapsed, many government programs are going to cease, hundreds of thousands of federal workers will likely be put on furlough, and an uncertain economic and political moment has arrived. In the past, usually a shutdown is about a specific bill or a specific policy that both sides dig in on. This shutdown is almost more philosophical. Democrats are trying to dig in their heels. They feel like they've been pushed around by the White House for months, and they see this as a rare opportunity to try to push back and create some obstruction. Now, President Trump sees almost no incentive to negotiate with Democrats. Democrats are the ones that are blocking a vote in the Senate. He's painting this shutdown as something that Democrats have caused.
They want to give health care to illegal immigrants, which will destroy health care for everybody else in our country.
A lot of discretion for how this shutdown is going to play out will rest on the shoulders of Russell Vought, who is the White House Office of Management and Budget Director. What the White House has said could happen this time is that not only would these people be sent home without pay, but the White House could try to fire potentially hundreds of thousands of federal workers, so that even once Congress reopens government, those people would not come back.
We can do things during the shutdown that are irreversible, that are bad for them and irreversible by them, like cutting vast numbers of people out, cutting things that they like, cutting programs that they like.
Now, the White House believes they have the authority to do this. Democrats say there's no way they can do this legally, and we're going to have to see if they follow through on this in the days to come. Welcome to the shutdown of 2025.
Just so you guys know, I did a little bit of research here. How many times has this happened in our country? Over 21 government shutdowns since 1980. So this is not the first time. So chill, relax, nothing else to panic about. This is big news, though, because today, October, is the beginning of the fiscal year 2026 coming up. And usually what happens is the government shutdowns because they're fighting over budget. They're fighting over money. They're fighting over what programs and policies getting money for to implement in 2026 going forward. So that's what they're arguing about. So this is not a new thing. Each time it feels like deja vu with deeper damage. And it's pretty much equal between how many shutdowns we had under Republican presidents or Democratic presidents. And so I will say, though, I think this is how it's going to affect your pocket. For the government workers, over 4 million, the largest employer in America is, guess who? The largest employer in America is the federal government. It's not Amazon. It's not Walmart. It's not Target. It's not the airlines. It's the federal government. By the way, it's kind of like a bad, in my opinion, it's a bad thing. But over 4 million government workers and contractors are at risk of not getting a paycheck or getting a delayed paycheck. And even if they get back pay later on, guess what they have to defer until they get a paycheck? Their mortgages, their child care, groceries, their car payment. And so it may trigger a bunch of late fees if the typical family can't pay their bills without a check on the first, which a lot of people do. Why? Because people's lifestyle is up here, but their income is up here, right? And so people have to do what? Minimize the budget, so therefore their income can have surplus. A lot of people today don't live surplus. People today are living, not only living paycheck to paycheck, but they have expensive tastes with a beer budget. I'll give you an example. One of my kids, I won't mention who because they're probably watching this podcast, but them, by the way, that's not a pronoun. Them, I won't use he or she. I just use them as a general term to encompass all 5 of them, not just one of them. Okay, all 5. Well, one of them was sitting on my couch after them got done with work, and then she proceeded. Shit, I just said it. I can't play the they them game. But okay, so she decides. Okay, so even though my family's only 2 girls, so she decides to order Starbucks on the couch. I said, babe, how much money do you make as a server? About 15 to 20 bucks an hour. How much is that Starbucks? $9, something like that after taxes, another $3 for delivery fee, another couple bucks for tax. It's $16 for your Starbucks. You worked a whole hour at your job just to sit on your butt instead of getting on your bike or getting on your feet to go down the street to Starbucks, but you want it comfortably just being delivered to you for $16. Must be nice. So a whole hour of you working went to somebody else. How do you feel? Well, Poppy, it's just once. I know it's just once. Today. What about tomorrow? What about next week? And that stuff starts to compound. And you think that's unnecessarily, I spent this much for Starbucks. In fact, why don't you go to the grocery store and get some grounds? Some coffee grounds. Dunkin' Donuts. Get some coffee. Chicago, of course, Dunkin' Donuts. Get some coffee grounds. And when you want coffee, instead of sitting on your butt on DoorDash, get up from the couch, go to the kitchen, put that little filter in the machine, make your coffee, boom. What's the cost for that versus DoorDash out of convenience because you don't want to take the next few steps? It's like the people that go to a Chick-fil-A or an In-N-Out. Where do you get faster, or a Starbucks? Where do you get faster service? The drive-through or parking and walking in? You guessed it, parking and walking in. No foot traffic. Cashier right there ready to help you. You're in and out before the guy that went in 2 cars before you even gets a chance to order his Starbucks or get their In-N-Out or get their Chick-fil-A order put in. So much things can happen when you get up on your feet and move. The other area of impact that government shutdown has on a lot of people, it's effect on local businesses. So if you're in a city where there's a lot of government employees, maybe not be going out as much. They may not be going to the dry cleaners or eating at restaurants or going to the grocery as they once did for this time being. So there's a less foot traffic. There might be a trickle-down effect in the local communities because people have government checks. They're holding it tight right now. There's over 4 million of them. And if you're a business owner serving them, expect less business in the meantime. The other aspect here is it takes a shot in confidence. People don't have confidence in their finances because we don't know when next check is coming. The next one thing you know, their spending starts to slow, which I don't think is a bad thing. What's the problem with America today? We're so good at spending money. Here's the area which really affect people. If you're waiting for a government check, whatever check, Social Security, unemployment, SBA loans, federal housing assistance. You may not be getting money yet because there's going to be a service delay. So everybody that's depending on the system for a check, there's a potential delay in you receiving your check, which again may trigger late fees to whoever you obligated to pay money to. But just know this, all this is a political game, people posturing, and it's happened before. And I pray we get out of this and we move on to greener pastures and to our policymakers. I will say this one young lady here, I very much respect to her. Florida Senator Ashley Moody, she just announced that she's going to donate her paycheck to local businesses and whoever is in need of government checks. So she's donating her salary as a senator back to the American people. Wow, what a profound thing to do. Ashley Moody just announced she'll donate her taxpayer salary for every day the government is shut down, sending to the crisis center of Tampa Bay. What a noble thing. By the way, what type of politician would you trust more? A politician that gets broker when they're in office because they had to take a pay cut to serve our country, or one that increases their net worth after serving our country, even though their current political position has no business opportunity attached to it? Who do you trust more? Do you trust more a politician that decreases in net worth during the time in office to serve the American people, or one that increases their net worth hand over fist because side deals or under the table deals or leveraging deals is financially profiting them? Who would you trust? Put in the comment section. I want to know. All right. Back to insurance. Okay, back to insurance. This gentleman named Kirk Franklin, love his music. He's been said to made some financial mistakes here on his come up. Let's see what he had to say about insurance.
Did you know it? You gotta give yourself. No, it's what you know. If nobody taught you, Kirk, you got to give yourself some grace and be gentle with yourself in the situation. That's what I'm telling you.
Here we go. Let's start from the top.
Didn't get health insurance or life insurance, and I was married. I probably didn't get it until 7-8 years after being married, which was stupid, which was dumb.
But if it's what you know, it's not stupid or dumb. It's what you know.
Did you know it?
You give yourself grace. Know. It's what you know. If nobody taught you, Kirk, you got to give yourself some grace and be gentle with yourself in the situation. That's what I tell anybody who is like, "Well, I wish I'd done this. I wish I'd done it." You know, when I first started making money, man, I bought every V12 engine, like Jay said, right?
For example, I didn't get health
By the way,
insurance.
what a point there from Tyler Perry. It's what you know, right? So you got to be careful of what you know about money, and more importantly, what you don't know about money. I was asking a question last night in our financial workshop. I said, right now, the guy that won the Powerball, right? The guy that won the Powerball, he's got two options to take money from the Powerball. Number one, you can either take a $400 million check today, but that's it. You're not getting $1 billion later. You take a $400 million check today. Or you want your $1 billion? They'll pay $1 billion, $50 million a year for the next 20 years. Which would you choose? $400 million today or $50 million a year? You know what I choose? Right, put in the comments section. What would you choose? $50 million a year for the next 20 years or $400 million today? What would you choose? Put in the comment section. 3, 2. I would choose the $400 million. And I have my first 5 phone calls to make once I get that direct deposited or cashed into my bank account. I know exactly where to put it. I got ideas. I got partners. I got opportunities because I've been stoking the fire for all I need is funding. I have these relationships. I got the partners. I got the people to make the phone call to move certain ideas and initiatives and projects forward. We create an opportunity for all of us to make money. And then within 2, 3, 4, 5 years, that $400 million will be flipped to $600 million, to $800 million, to $1 billion. I'll have my own $1 billion before 20 years. Than for the people who opt for $1 billion over a 20-year period. Because I avoid this I factor, which is what? Inflation. Because $50 million today is not $50 million worth tomorrow due to this nasty I word, one of the gotchas of money, which is called inflation. I want my money today. I want to outpace inflation today. I want to make sure I earn a rate of return that I control, that I can manage today. I know what risks are involved. I have filters. I make sure I have protocols, make sure I don't lose money, that I incorporate today. The people that don't have a plan, first thing they do is, I want to take care of my parents. I want to go vacation. I want to buy a car. You're blowing your money. You're back to consumer mindset, right? Scriptures taught me how to have a stewardship mindset, how to look at money as a tool, not as a status symbol, not as a couch. How do I use my money as a tool? And so that tool is to create generational wealth. The tool is to create access and opportunities for myself and people I love and care about that we didn't have before. That's what money is. It's a tool. And speaking of tool, there's one other comedian, the flip side of Kirk Franklin, and he's one of many different celebrities that don't know about life insurance. Marlon Wayans was out here at our Cigars, Wealth, and Whiskey event a few weeks ago, August. And we're here after the Cigars, Wealth, and Whiskey event. And then after his shows, he was here at my patio. We're chopping it up. There's a lot of things about money he doesn't know. And he's Hollywood royalty. He took a picture with my books because, Matt, we can all learn together because these keep the keys. I don't know if I have the picture, if I can show. There you go here. Where's Marlon's here. We are let me show that pic. Marlon. Keep the keys. Where is it? Where is it? I should have had this earlier. But anyway, I don't have time to dig around my iPhotos right now before. But anyway, Marlon's posing with my book because he's got property too as well. He's got saving and investing too as well. He didn't know about life insurance. He didn't know about the power of life insurance to use it while you are alive. And tell me that the Wayans family doesn't need some generational wealth conversation to we wills and trusts and life insurance to make sure and guarantee money goes from one generation to another without paying a diamond tax and minimizing estate tax. That's the conversation about life insurance, how to take that financial wealth from their brilliance into a financial asset for the Wayans last name. And so let's go to another comedian who is talking about life insurance. There's a lot of things he's talked about politically. I thought he was a comedian, but apparently he's a big political pundit. But at this point, he's talking about life insurance. Let's take a look at D.L. Hughley.
Got life insurance on me and I didn't get any of hers. She said, you didn't get any life insurance on me. I said, well, baby, you don't work. That's not right. What'll happen to you guys if something were to happen to me? We're going to be sad. We ain't going to have to move and no shit like that, the kids. Kids going to get a 32-year-old Puerto Rican stepmother. That's the fuck going to happen. Oh, yes. I've been with a black woman my whole life. Something happened to her, I'm out. I've done my time, fuck y'all. You happy for Serena? Be happy for me, goddammit.
All right, so I know that's just jokes, but here's the truth. The truth is this. A wife that has the ability to stay at home, what a blessing, by the way, that is. The wife that has the ability to stay at home without having to earn money for the household, but she does bring economic intrinsic value to the house. Let's break down right quick for the average person, not D.L. Hughley's wife, but for the average wife that chooses, that the husband and wife that she chooses to stay home and raise the family. And this is why it's important for the wife to have life insurance. And it's, I know he's joking around, but there's a seriousness to it. Is if your wife is the one that's cooking, that's a $15,000 to $20,000 a year job. If she's cleaning, that's another $10,000 to $25,000 a year job. If she's providing daycare, raising your child, that's $15,000 to $30,000 a year job. If she's the person driving around the kids to school, groceries, errands, etc., that's another $5,000 to $10,000 a year job. She's a teacher, the tutor, the counselor, it's another $5,000 to $10,000 a year job. If she's also the nurse, the emotional support, that's another $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a year job. She's running the house, taking care of your finances, taking care of the bills, making sure everything's stocked and organized and neat. That's a $10,000 to $20,000 a year job. So the total economic value of a woman that gets to stay at home is what? Anywhere from $70,000 to $140,000 per year. $700,000 to $140,000 per year. Remove her, you won't be sad. You're going to have to hire people to do those things that she was doing. And if you don't have insurance, guess what you need? You're going to need another stream of income to either you do it yourself or another stream of income to pay for those jobs to replace what your wife was doing at home outside of you just being sad. You'd be sad and broke that everybody had to deal with money. So when you look at life insurance, to get an appropriate life insurance policy on these figures, you're using a 10x or 15x number or multiple, meaning that if she's making $70,000 a year, you take 10x that's the life insurance need, that temporary life insurance need. So if you're a husband, you're planning for your finances, planning for your household finances, getting a 20-year term insurance policy for your wife of $700,000 is an appropriate amount. If you want to go to $140,000 a year, depending on your demographic, that's a $1.4 million policy on your wife to do those jobs, to raise a kid, to take care of your house. Okay. The cost of that, fairly inexpensive. Tasha Butts, we just mentioned earlier in this podcast, she was paying what? For $1 million policy, she was paying what, $60, $70 a month for it. And she's in her 30s. That's it. That's how much the intrinsic value is of a housewife that stays at home to raise the kids, to take care of the house, to cook, to clean. Very important job. In my opinion, there's no such thing as a housewife. I reframe them, call them a domestic engineer. Because imagine anything, you're the person that helps you run your home. That is a very important person in your life. Not only is your wife, but somebody that's helping you run your household. So consider that. All right. Let's talk about this guy. Speaking of finances, let's talk about this guy. He's discussing what his finances is all about. Now he's 40. Because people think, you know what? I'm just going to, I'm in my 20s. I'm in my 30s. I'll just wait, when my money's right. I'll make a decision to improve my career. I'll work with urgency when I feel like it's right. And this guy's having a reality check at 40. But I had the same reality check at 30. Let's take a look at what this guy has to say. Man goes viral after posting video about wasting his life. Let's take a look.
And I wasted my life. I've got nothing to show for it. No house, no savings, no career that I'm proud of. And if you're in your 20s or even your early 30s and you think you've got time, I'm telling you right now, you don't. If you're in your 20s right now and you're listening to this, stop thinking you've got unlimited time. Stop doing it. You don't have unlimited time. You think it's harmless to keep chasing women and wasting money and avoiding responsibility. But one day, you'll wake up and you'll realize you've got no leverage. You've got no power, absolutely no clarity, and no way to get those years back. One day you will wake up and you will be 40. 40, and I wasted my life.
Well, kudos to this guy. Kudos to the guy. I appreciate the courage it takes to be that transparent and that reflective. I had this epiphany when I was 30, because maybe that's called a Marine Corps Life Accelerator. Maybe the Marine Corps had something to do with me seeing life differently because I was around combat. I was around leading other Marines in teamwork in high risk, high stress environments. Maybe I was a little bit more advanced realizing that at 30 versus 40. And at 30 years old, I looked back on my life. I was 20. It was my birthday. And I'm looking back. So you know what? My entire 20s just went by. I'm 30 now. I sat myself one question. What do I have to show for? Of course, I got my kids, my children. That's wealth to me. But what economically, as a man, as a provider and protector of the home, what do I have to show for? You know what my answer was? Nothing. Matter of fact, I had everything to owe for. And so I decided at that point, what do I got to do in my life to really buckle down and make sure that the economic turnaround of my life is a much different answer by the time I turn 40. And one thing I decided to not do is jump around from decision to decision to decision to decision. Stick with one thing. Figure out who I am in this world, what my power spot is in terms of making money, what my talents were. Focus on one thing. While I'm doing this, guess what everybody around me is doing? They're pinballs. Bing, 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 bing. I remember a jiu-jitsu class because my after-school daycare, that I had hired the neighbor down the street or the apartment down the hall for me to take my kids down the street after school in the after-school martial arts program from 3:30 to 6. So after 3:30 to 6, the kids would be there. They'd be in after-school program, and then they'll finish off in martial arts class. And then the adults get there at 6, and I go there from 6 to 7 o'clock. So the adults will be there. So I'm in the gym rolling with my son. And I remember this guy I'm rolling with during jiu-jitsu. He goes, bro, I'm leaving my job as a teacher. Awesome. What are you going to be doing? I'm doing mortgages, man. My cousin just makes 20 grand a month doing mortgages. More power to you, bro. You should do mortgages too. I know you're insurance. You should do mortgages. I'm going to stick to insurance, bro. But you go, you do your thing. You say, oh, this guy, next guy I'm rolling with. Man, bro, I'm leaving construction. What are you doing? I'm going to be a realtor. Boom. Okay, good luck. More like the boom. Everybody started departing whatever they're doing, whatever job they're currently doing, into the real estate industry, into mortgages, into selling real estate, being a real estate investor. I stuck to insurance. You know why? Because I knew it. I studied in and out. And with me quitting it, what would I be doing when I quit it? When I quit it, all the time and effort of building a skill set is gone. The relationships I built, gone. Matter of fact, speaking of relationship, there's a guy that I was attempting to recruit into my team. Sent me a text that I responded to, and he's just kind of staying in contact with me. Anyway, when did I start this conversation with him? Started this conversation with him in 2016. I just covered his name, 2016, right? So I started this conversation in 2016. Now it's 2025. Guess how many different things he's been bouncing around? Bouncing around being in financial services, bouncing around being an online trader, day trader, bouncing around in real estate, dabbling in e-commerce. 8 years later, now he's a pastor. God bless your ministry. Just so you know, if you were just stuck to one thing, you've been praying anyway. But he's now, I didn't realize that being a minister was a career opportunity instead of a calling. And that's what irks me too, is that many people use the church as a career or business opportunity when it's actually a calling. I'll get into that here in a second. But when you're looking at his area of doing his thing, that's where I'm confused a lot and what his direction is going. Focus on one thing. People say, oh, man, millionaires have multiple streams of income. Matter of fact, there's a book out there I have by Robert Allen, Multiple Streams of Income. Nah, man, I don't believe in multiple streams of too soon. Eventually, yes. Make your first million, though, in one thing. And then take that cash and energy, and now you can start diversifying. Why? Because you know how to build a team now. I mean, what do you think Elon Musk did? You think Elon Musk right away started with Tesla and then SpaceX and then Starlink and Solar City and the Boring Company? You think he started all at one time? No, he started with PayPal, became the PayPal mafia, right? And took that money into one thing, which is Tesla, and eventually took that into another thing, which is SpaceX, nothing, right? And et cetera, et cetera. He started going. Then Solar City, and next thing you know, the Boring Company and Starlink, he started doing that eventually, but it was one thing, boom, methodical, boom, 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 right? So if you want to get ahead, by the time you're 40, stick to one thing. Value somebody in your life that's willing to challenge you, hold you accountable, following his path, because they got to be making money too as well, so you got to follow that path. As annoying as it is, it's worth it. How do I know? I was that guy. I was that guy that was annoyed by a mentor. I was annoyed. In turn, I kept it to myself, though. I didn't let my mentor know. But I was annoyed because I had to change. I had to evolve. I had to improve. I had to recreate myself. Therefore, by the time I'm 40, I loved my 40s. This guy's loathing his 40s now. I loved my 40s. Why? Because now I got 20 years of experience, confidence, relationships, and now 40 to 50, make my money. 50 to 60, explosion phase. That's what's happening in our life right now. Especially if you marry the right woman. If you marry the right woman, she is an amazing multiplier in your life. That's what Sheena's been in my life. All right. Do a couple more here. Where did I go? Last but not least here, let's do this. Talk about we'll do a couple more. This professional athlete. Okay, this NBA player goes from millionaire to thousandaire. See what he has to say.
4 years is the average lifespan of an NBA career, and it takes us 5 years after that to go broke. Easy numbers game. I do it like this. You make $5 million, 2.5 of that gone. You got agent fees, probably another 50 of that gone. You got your dues. A lot of people don't know we got dues for the NBPA. So yeah, you got dues. So everybody put their money in the pot. So you figure you got 450 NBA players. I think the dues is 15 to 20 grand a year. Everybody put it in the pot. That's how we able to get our health care and all of that type of shit.
I didn't know that.
Then you got your personal staff. Financial advisor is probably 1%. Agent at a high number is gonna get 4%.
Right.
But you can negotiate from 1 to 4.
Okay.
So before you look up, you probably at 1.5 million.
From a 5 million.
God. With nothing. And these Benzes that we keep talking about in these mansions and shit, these girlfriends and these Chanel bags. Before you know it, you not a millionaire no more.
Right.
You a high thousandaire. On paper, you can tell a motherfucker, fuck you, I'm a millionaire.
Right.
In real life, a lot of that pie gone.
God.
Yeah, because the first thing to take off the top, because they're employees of the NBA, they're employees of the NFL. That half is taken off is taxes. That's taxes. The first thing to take off is taxes. Because you're not taxed anywhere at 50 grand, 20 grand, $200,000 a year. You're taxed at millionaire. And by the way, if you live in California, on top of federal taxes, you got to pay another 13.6% in income tax in the state of California. Texas, 0. Florida, 0. Tennessee, 0. Nevada, 0. But New York, you play in New York, taxes on top of federal taxes. Illinois, taxes on top of taxes. California, taxes on top of taxes. State income tax, federal tax. And by the way, we interviewed Tommy Harris a while ago. Tommy Harris was a former first-round draft pick of the Chicago Bears, number 91 out of Oklahoma. He said the same thing. So for those of you venturing to want to be an athlete and make your money through being an athlete, amen, God bless you. For those of you who are current athletes, if you're watching this right now, be careful. Be careful of your entourage. Be careful of the people that you surround yourself with. Be careful of the fees and expenses, get those to add up. And you know, one of our clients is Jalen Wells. Jalen's a client of ours, and as soon as he got drafted into the NBA, we're right on top of his finances. I told Jalen, listen, I've already made my money. You know, I told him it's in his kitchen. I said, Jalen, you can bounce ideas like this off my. Learn to trust me because a guy like me doesn't need your business. I've made my money. I don't need to make my career off you. But you got to know this one thing too as well. I want to do this for you because I know how important this is for your life. I don't know how long your career is going to be. I don't know if it's going to be for the next 3, 4, 5 years or the next 15 to 20 years. What I do know is I need to maximize this right now because once you lose this, you don't get it back. You don't get your ability to play the NBA anymore. You don't get the type of income anymore unless we create a business out of the money that you made here. I think it clicked with him. And he visited our Memphis office there with Jamie Mickens. We visited him last year in person. It was awesome to see him get drafted. So it's awesome to see now he's now the starting shooting guard for the Memphis Grizzlies. Was the top number 1 team all rookie last year. Was the only second round draft pick to make the number 1 all rookie team last year. The first thing that's squared away is his finances. And I love how his father, there's no credit to me, his father, Fred Wells, was the one who's been coaching them his whole entire life. I just happened to come in on the tail end. But Fred Wells did a good job as an NBA dad, as a college dad with a son playing basketball. Not only to help him with the skills, but also to manage the mindset and the mentality. And once finances, don't let money be a distraction from what your calling is to play basketball. That's what he's doing right now. So proud of Jalen Wells. Shout out to him as the NBA season is about to get started here in a minute. But to all the aspiring athletes out there, please be smart with your money. Stop being the statistic. You know, Tyreek Hill on Sunday, what happened to Tyreek Hill? He got his knee dislocated. Gross, right? Gross dislocation of his knee. Who knows if he'll ever play again? Or if he'll play for the Miami Dolphins. Who knows? He'll get healed up, surgery, and be playing again. But those are things that are a risk to your ability to make money. Now, we hope that Tyreek, by the way, if you guys didn't know this, I'm not saying anything that's not public, but Tyreek, if there's a leaders bulletin and guys in the NBA that have a lot of kids, he's one of the top people to make money, that needs to make money because he's got a lot of kids. So kids are expensive, man, and you need to make your money work for you. There's so many different ways to spend money. So many different ways to spend money. So hard to make it. So respect it. All right, last but not least, we'll go over this one last video here, which has been a pet peeve of mine. Pastors that don't know how to deal with entrepreneurs. Let's take a look at this.
I know don't have a category big enough to
deal with the entrepreneurial gifts in their church. It's like, and it's beyond here, stand there and hand out this program, or park cars in the parking lot, or lead a small group.
Exactly what happened to me.
This is our ministry. This is the way we're doing it. I don't know what to do with you. I don't. Other than, can you give?
Yeah.
And I'm too afraid to ask you. Most pastors I know don't have.
Okay, so I was at a church where I was guilty that I was ambitious. I was guilty that I felt like I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to be a millionaire. And everybody around me was telling me, man, chill, relax, go serve the poor, feed the needy, help out the single moms. I'm a single dad. I'm trying to figure stuff out. Man, it's okay. You're doing better than most everybody. What are you talking about? I'm only making 50 grand a year. I just started my insurance bill. You're making a low. Remember, this is the hood. You're making more money than everybody else. So I was surrounded by a bunch of broke people in the church. And nobody in that church was entrepreneur. Nobody in that church really wanted to really level up. A bunch of fake money, a bunch of facade money in the hood. Nobody had real money. And in the moment I wanted to rally and bring people together and do a financial ministry, a lot of people want to support that. Oh, Matt's benefiting. Even people inside the church, they were competitors. Instead of rallying together with me and galvanizing together a coalition to help people of God, the people of God in that church with their finances, they found his way to compete against me. Oh man, he's taking all the business from the church. Bro, forget the business. Let's help God's people. Let's break down Proverbs. Let's break down Ecclesiastes. Let's break down the parable of the talent. Let's break down the parable of the fig tree. Let's break down the parable of the sower. Let's break the stuff down so we can be better stewards of our finances. Because we are commanded to be wiser stewards with the resource been given us. Because when much is given, much is expected. If you can't even take care of the $25,000, $50,000 you're given, and you are praying for a miracle to make the $100,000, $200,000 a year, good luck. Because God ain't going to trust you. Because based on not my opinion, but based on Scripture. And Matthew 25 said what? In the parable of the talents, the master leaves him for a trip. So he brings his three servants together, and he gives them money. In the Bible, it's called talents. Basically, it's money. He gives them money according to their ability. He gave one, the other one 2, the other one 4. According to their ability. The only one that didn't operate to double it was the one who operated in a spirit of fear. Because he didn't have the ability. So that's my prayer. Lord, give me wisdom. Give me the ability to handle the blessing you're about to give me. And that's for you, for those of you watching this, I pray that God blesses you with ability, the talent, the skill set to handle the abundance that he's about to send your way. And if you believe that, put in the comment section below. You're praying for the ability. You're praying for the skill set. I pray for ability. I pray for skill set to be a better steward. But God's about to send my way. That being said, guys, that's the reaction to today's live videos. If any of these things make sense to you, please put your biggest takeaway in the comment section below. If you want to connect with me on Minect, there's do we have a Minect graphic there? A Minect graphic. So you guys, we'll put the link of Minect. So if you guys want to directly reach out to me in an app called Minect. And if you haven't done so yet, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel here, 7 Figure Squad, a channel that helps you think like a millionaire, strategize like a millionaire. So therefore, you could become a first-generation cash flow millionaire. Another Millionaire Responds here on a live video here. We'll be here either Tuesday or Wednesday, one of those interchangeable based on my travel schedule. But we'll see you next week here at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. Millionaire Responds on the 7 Figure Squad. Appreciate you for tuning in. Please put your biggest comments in terms of your takeaways in the comments section below. And until we meet again, continue to live smart, continue to love smart, and be money smart today.